champions, so we have to have respect for them, and I love some of the individual talent that they have up front. In particular, I know they're very dangerous, and I think their coach does a really good job of having them organized. But as I've said before, and I said at the World Cup, and I continue to say, I really like our team and our squad, and I have all the confidence in our players that will perform really well.
The South African team, they've been in Nigeria since on Sunday. They have even trained this morning. Are you in any way disturbed?
Well, I would guess some of their players probably aren't here. I think the majority of the team would be here, but I'm sure their international players are just arriving. And I think it's smart to come in early and get some training in. But we can't really worry about what they're doing. We have to just focus on the task and the job that we have, and make sure our players are prepared for their roles and their responsibilities, before Friday's match.
Ashley and Demain, they are out due to injuries. Do you have a plan B for them?
Well, first of all, our thoughts and prayers are with those two players. They're both vitally important players to us. They're two mainstays in our defense, and it's a big loss not to have those two. So my first thoughts and concerns are just them getting healthy and making sure that they're going to be okay. But I think as coaches, you always have to have a plan B in effect, and we've been working on those plans once we found out. And I think we have players that will be ready to step in and replace them and do a good job for us. So I have the confidence in the depth in our squad that they can come in and do the job that we ask them to do.
All right, that is Coach Randy Waldrum talking about the big one that will be happening later on today by 5 p.m. at the Abiola National Stadium between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and Banyana Banyana of South Africa in the last round of the women's football event of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. After going through the first round, second round, the third round, and this is the fourth round, the last round of getting that ticket to the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. You heard it all from Coach Randy Waldrum. They are fully ready for that cracker this evening. On that note, I welcome you to the show proper 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashemi. I also have Isaac Omidiji, who is standing by to join me all the way from Bida. We'll be looking at the Super Falcons game this evening and other stories on the show. Let's begin from the Super Falcons, where they are ready to battle the Banyana Banyana of South Africa in this particular cracker. If you look at the head-to-head record, we've met 13 times between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and Banyana Banyana have met 13 times, and for the Super Falcons, they've won 7, and Banyana Banyana winning 3, and just the other game ending in the draw. But the last time out, the last 3 meetings between Nigeria and the Banyana Banyana of South Africa has ended on the win for the South African ladies. The last one at the African Women's Nations Cup. Before then, the Aisha Buhari maiden edition cup here in Nigeria, where they defeated us 4-2 right there in Lagos. So it's a big one. And the last time out, we graced the Olympics. That's for the Super Falcons, was in 2008. Since then, we've missed the 2012, we've missed the Rio 2016, we've missed Tokyo 2020. So we've not been there for the past how many editions of the Olympic Games for women's football. This time around, we are looking to get there. All right, Isaac Omidiji, let me bring you on quickly on this particular big game. It's a big game because this evening, the turf at the Abuja Stadium, the MK Abiola National Stadium here in Abuja, will be filling the boots, the stuff of the Super Falcons and the ladies from South Africa. They touched down the country on Sunday. They've been in town trying to put their pieces together to understand themselves, feel what Nigeria is all about, feel the pitch, and probably they are looking to cause upset this evening. Isaac, I'm a bit, let me say, this game, in fact, I'm looking forward to it.
Good morning, Emmanuel, and thank you for having me this beautiful morning on your wonderful show. You see, no one is having it so rosy with his or her thoughts about the game, because we know the strength of the Banyana Bayanas. And in the last few games we've played, they've demonstrated the fact that they are playing better football, the fact that they have better players, the fact that they have a better team than that of the Super Falcons of Nigeria. We've always remembered how they came here to the stadium in Lagos and get a victory against us in the Aisha Buhari Cup. Then in the 2022 WAFCON, they defeated the Super Falcons to leave that particular trophy. And this time around is an opportunity, and they'll be talking tough. And the fact that they came so early to acclimatize, probably someone already told them that Abuja is also as hot as some other places in Nigeria. So probably thinking the game will be played under a very hot temperature. They came as early as Saturday, or Sunday, to start acclimatizing and settling down so that they will have enough focus for the game. And it's a good one. I hope that after today's game, no matter the outcome of the results, the Super Falcons will be leaving for Pretoria tomorrow, because the next leg will be in 4 days' time. So there is no need for us to wait and waste our time. And for this game, is going to be epic. The fact is, both sides will be jittery. Both sides will be wary of each other. Both sides knows that each of these sides are good. So none of the side will write each other off. None of the side will be overconfident. So any of the side that is overconfident and think, it's not the Super Falcons, we can take them to the cleaners. Or is it not Banyana that are coming to Abuja that will go roast them? It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a game that will be very tight, a game that will be decided by technical abilities and team play. For Nigeria, we know there are years where individual players, determine matches for us. Some of these individual players are winning out, are not as strong as they used to be. So we have to go back to reliance on the kind of team play we saw during the World Cup. And remember, before the World Cup, Randy Waldrum never had any positive impact in the games we have played as technical. So most of us were even surprised with what we saw in the World Cup. So we were even wondering, is it the determination of the guys or the input of Randy Waldrum? So this time around, I hope that the coach must have studied the South African ladies very well, and not just hoping that I know these players, I know this player, I know how they play. Have you studied their latest games? Have you seen their area of strength? Have you noticed their weaknesses? And have you placed players in those positions that will be able to neutralize their strength? And remember, in the interview you played before you started the show, Emmanuel, he talked about Ashley being out, very important player. Demeni also being out. These are two mainstays of the defense. So I hope those who will be coming in to replace them will be as good as they are. And I hope that going forward, we will have players who will be able to take their chances, because that has been the bane of the Super Falcons chances, but they don't take their chances. I hope this time the highest number of goals, the more number of goals they score, the better for the Super Falcons going to the second leg in Pretoria.
Okay, the number of goals that going to be that they will score tonight will be the key going to the second leg right there at Loftus Versfeed in Pretoria, South Africa, in 4 days' time. Isaac, if you look at the whole thing before the World Cup, like you mentioned, Randy Waldrum actually did something to this team. We saw the physicality of these girls, and it came to bear at the World Cup, which probably we might see that same physicality in today's game, because he also made mention of that.
Remember, we are playing against an African side, so physicality might not count. We are playing against a side that is also physical. Physicality might not count. What is your plan B? Remember, in the World Cup, we don't even have a plan B, and that counted against us when we needed a plan B. It didn't work. So it is not about physicality. How many of our ladies can still be physical? Remember, most of these ladies are now playing abroad. If it was those days where the Super Falcons were majorly playing on the home soil, we would have loved that this game be played between 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. so that the heat and the sun be able to be effective. But this time around, majority of the girls are no longer even used to the hot temperature in Nigeria. So even the physicality we are talking about, the South Africans are also physical. What is the other plan apart from being physical? Are you tactical enough? That is the question. The South African side, our tactical side, when you see them play, you know that there is something working that they are working towards. There is a calculation they are working towards. There is something they are, charting their game pattern towards. So it's not about just playing and playing forward to what extent and to who and for why and for what reason? So these are the questions we should ask ourselves. It's not just being physical.
Isaac, I think the way you are sounding, you're asking me all these questions, I'm not the coach, but I believe something is different with Randy Waldrum and these guys. And if you watch it after the World Cup, though he was not there in the 4 games we played before the last time out against Cameroon, where the contract issue was settled. But if you look at it, I think Randy Waldrum has also at least turned the tides around in the team after taking time to study, because he actually made mention of that when he came on ground, that he was going to study the team, and eventually after studying, we are seeing what he can do. If you're saying the plan B, a coach will not at least divulge his plan B to you. He will not tell you what he has in mind, and you heard it in the interview when what is the plan B for those 2 players, and he made mention of that. He didn't really answer the question what he was going to do, but he said he had a good replacement, and probably we might just see those replacements come into play into this game. But looking at the forward line, we have all our big guns in town. In the forward line, Ufioma Onumuni is there, Uchenna Kanu, Asisa Toshola, who joined there yesterday, and a couple of other making coming back to the team. And we have a change in who's banging in goals for Juventus the last weekend. He got a hat-trick. She got a hat-trick. So I think the big guns are in town. That would have at least given us an edge up front. And we also have the versatile Rasheedat Ajibade at the middle of the park. Christy Uchebe is also there.
Yes, I'm not expecting the coach to publicly divulge his or her plan B. We should see it on the pitch of play. And at the World Cup, when we thought we needed a plan B, we didn't see it come to play. And that was big guns coming up. Good one. It's very good that we have our big names, our big players play on the pitch of play. You see, apart from Uchenna Kanu, Asisa Toshola occasionally, and Rasheedat Ajibade, you mentioned last, these are players that I have seen in Super Falcons team that are very committed. And I use the word occasionally for Asisa Toshola. For Eshijina, who is banging in goals for Juventus, I want her to be thrown into the fray because she's in the right frame of mind presently. Yes, club football is different from national team football, but goal scoring is goal scoring. So I still believe she has a goal scoring boost. Let her put it on, and she'll be thrown into the fray and get in those goals. We need goals. That is the most important thing. If you can beat this Banyana by 3 goals to nothing at least, without conceding, it will be very difficult for them in Pretoria. If they like, they should bring out the whole population of the country to come and support them. It will be very difficult for them, except if you want to totally go there and collapse under pressure.
The same thing we are doing in Abuja. I think the NFF has called on all Abuja fans, football-loving fans, come out en masse and support the girls this evening against the Banyana Banyana of South Africa. We'll still get back to the game. Let's move away from the Super Falcons story. Let's look at the men's national team now, where, well, if you look at it, I normally say this on the show that rankings don't play football, but no matter what it is, rankings also matters when it comes to competition. As it stands right now, Super Eagles have dropped 2 places from 28th position to 30th in the latest ranking, the latest FIFA ranking that was released on Thursday. And the Nigeria, as it stands right now, still maintains their 3rd position on the continent of Africa. Isaac, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, after moving up to 28th position, now they are back to 30th in the world rankings released yesterday by FIFA.
Yes, I'm not surprised, even though I'm not a fan of this rankings. I have so many questions around it. But if you look at some of the key factors being considered for the rankings, you might want to understand the reason why we dropped. Remember, we played 2 friendly matches after the Nations Cup. We lost 1, we won 1. The one we won was against a team outside the top 10 of African football, and that is Ghana. And the one we lost was against a team in the first 10 of African football, which is Mali. So the team you defeated is not probably highly ranked. So you don't expect to gain more points going forward. So, but the team that we lost to is currently 8th on the log on the continent of Africa. So that might speak volume and probably assist those who are voting and those who are considering some of these points to ensure that Nigeria drops down 2 points. But we're still third on the continent of Africa, ahead of two sides that are obviously far away better than us presently.
Yes, of course. If you look at your screen right now, you can see the top 10 standing. In Africa, we have Morocco, who still maintain the #1 spot. Senegal second, Nigeria third, Egypt fourth, Ivory Coast fifth, Tunisia is sixth, Algeria is seventh, Mali is eighth, Cameroon is ninth, and South Africa occupying the 10th position on the continent of Africa. But for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, from the 28th position to 30th in the latest ranking released yesterday. All right, let's leave the Super Eagles. Probably we'll see maybe in the next ranking they will do well. We know we have the qualifiers coming up against South Africa and Benin Republic. That's for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. All right, let's come back home now and look at the NPFL, the Nigerian Premier Football League, where the second standard of the league has been living up to his billing. But now let's go straight to Aba, where Finidi George said he praises his team for their ruthless and resilient performance against Kano Pillars in match day 28, where they beat Kano Pillars 5. They scored 5 goals against Kano Pillars. The last time Kano Pillars ever lost with this kind of a scandalous scoreline was about 4 seasons ago in the Nigerian Premier Football League. But this time around, they were hammered 5 by Enyimba at the Aba International Stadium. And Finidi George has praised the ruthless teams they play against Kano Pillars. Isaac, the truth is, I feel for Kano Pillars in that game. Nobody saw this coming, and they were hammered 5 by Enyimba. And for Finidi George, he's just coming back after that break with the Super Eagles.
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals against Pillars is not always easy, and against a big side, these are 2 big teams, these are 2 big boys in the NPFL. You expect that the games between them will be tight, that if there will be victory amongst any one of them, probably 1-2-1, 2-2, 3-1, probably the highest. But these guys gave their coach a resounding victory from his return after the international break. Because if you look at it, Enyimba are also trying to do everything possible. They won last season, and the Rangers is trying not to even give them a breathing space. That's why they're currently top of the NPFL, and Enyimba is doing everything possible. Remember, the league is still there wide open, and I'm happy you mentioned that the second stanza is living up to his billing. I'm enjoying the second stanza as I've enjoyed any full league season in the NPFL, because it has been very, very interesting with interesting results, Emmanuel. And you see that it's good to see teams you don't expect going away to win, getting victories. So apart from Enyimba, only the problem they have is that they're not consistent. They will go away now and probably lost or get a draw against a side you expect them to have gotten a victory against. And that is not good for a team that wants to retain its title in the NPFL, and a team that probably will represent Nigeria on the continent next season. And that's why when most Nigerian team goes away playing any continental game, playing away is always a problem. They don't have the confidence, nothing. They believe that, no, they're only going there to get at least the best result to them is a draw, which is not a good mentality. But for Kano Pillars, it's a scandalous one, as you said, because looking at their status, it's like United losing to Chelsea by 5 goals to nothing. That would be scandalous.
That would be scandalous, but it's a big one for the Nigerian Premier Football League. We're enjoying the second stanza of the league. For Enugu Rangers, they are the top of the table with 48 points after match day 28, and they also lead the highest the goal scoring chart difference between them and the other teams that is following them on the Nigerian Premier Football League table. But for Finidi George and his team, they were so ruthless against Kano Pillars. The same Mesugida boys suffered 5 goals in their hands, and now he has come out to say yes, he loved the ruthlessness, he loved the resilience, and he loved the way they banged in those goals against Kano Pillars. Let's leave the round leader game and go talk some games also. Let's look at this particular sport at the African Games, but let's talk about Team Nigeria now, where Team Nigerian boxers are crying over non-payment of allowances. That is weeks after the African Games. They just concluded African Games in Ghana. This story is not looking so good for our Team Nigerian boxers who did so well. To tell you the truth, they contributed 8 gold medals. That is the Nigerian boxers at the African Games. Isaac, now they've not received their allowances after the games have come and gone.
Remember, Emmanuel, when we were praising the federal government, that they've done well, especially by ensuring the allowances of these athletes are paid. I said, I hope that after the African Games, we will not see athletes coming out to say they've not been paid, or they've not seen or not gotten their allowances. Unfortunately, this is happening. Now, we don't know whether it is only just the boxers alone, but there are other athletes that are also not paid. If it's the boxers alone, then I think the Boxing Federation should be asked questions instead of the sports ministry directly. Because if it's just that federation alone, then the federation should have questions. Ask questions to answer. But if there are others, please they should come out and speak up and let us know how poorly we have performed again. Remember that weeks after the games ended, and the impressive performance of the athletes, if not even be hosted by the federal government. But the Super Eagles that came second in the finals of the Africa Cup of Nations that was played in Cote d'Ivoire and came second in a very embarrassing way, were hosted and given national honors. What happened to these athletes? Are they less of humans? Why do we focus more on football? Why do we respect more of football? And athletes that have won gold medals upon gold medals are not respected? We need to change our attitude to some of these things we do. These athletes need to be paid their dues. They need to be honored by the federal government, given the kind of respect they give these footballers, and let them know that they belong to the same cycle as long as they're representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We need to change some of this. Our mentality is not good enough. I hope this will have attracted the attention of the sports minister, and anybody who is culpable should be punished. It's unfortunate that we will not hear anything. We might not hear anything again, or whoever is culpable will still lead the team to the next African Games without any repercussion.
All right, let's leave the African Games and go straight to Xiamen, China, where Tobi Amusan, our own African queen, track queen, Nigerian first track queen, let me use that for her, will be opening her Diamond League season in Xiamen, China, where it's a star-studded event. We have the likes of Camacho Queen there, we have Danielle Williams, and we have Devington, who is blazing the recently indoor champion, and it's going to be a star-studded event on April 20th at the in Xiamen, China, where Tobi Amusan will begin her Wonder Diamond League season. Isaac, quickly, I think this event is going to be a very big one. She became the second woman to defend the Diamond League title 3 times after the American lady did that, and now she's going to open her season on April 20th. But the names I just called, Danielle Williams, Devin Charlton, Camacho Queen, all of these ladies will be on that track on April 20th against Tobi Amusan's ambition of setting another record, becoming the first woman to win the Diamond League back-to-back 4 times.
Especially Camacho Queen will be looking forward to even not allowing Tobi do that. You know, she has been on the neck of Tobi for some years now, but Tobi has, probably be lucky enough, and hard work has paid for her to remain where she has been. And what she has done in the African Games showed that she's still in top form, top shape, and I'm very happy that she even competed in the African Games. That has also put her in the right position for Xiamen in China. And I'm looking forward to her performances in that particular World Championship and to see what will happen. As for me, I'm confident that Tobi will not just break records, she will retain her title and set new records. This lady is on the rise. She doesn't look like getting to that position where her talent or her skills will be dwindling. No, she's still currently at a point where she can still even go in top-notch higher. So for Tobi, she should just continue to remain focused, not get distracted, not resting on her house. I don't think 3 is enough. She can go for 4, and she can even go for 5th.
Okay, she can actually do that. That race will take place at the Egret Stadium in Xiamen, China. All right, let's go straight to Europe, where there were action last night in the English Premier Football League. And for Manchester United, After getting that third goal, it was all looking good for them, and they just felt like a pack of a card in a 7-goal thriller as Stamford Bridge 4-3 ended, and for this young man getting a hat-trick against Manchester United, and Liverpool also beat Sheffield United 3-1. And let's quickly look at the table, how the team is standing right now. We have Liverpool, who went back to the summit of the table with 70 points, and Arsenal is second with 68 points, Manchester City third with 67 points, and Chelsea now find themselves on the 10th position with 43 points. Isaac, for Manchester United, I don't really know what happened. In 10 seconds, just react to that victory for Chelsea.
A deserving one for Chelsea because they were more focused and they remember that the game has not ended. United thought it was all over, and their poor management of games this season again reflected in that particular game, and Chelsea got a good result.
Okay, and Chelsea got a good result. Let's quickly look at today's fixture. There's going to be 3 games, one in La Liga in Italian Serie A, and the other game in German Bundesliga. Eintracht Frankfurt against Werder Bremen. Salernitana will take on Sassuolo, and Luxley will battle Marseille in French Ligue 1. All right, that is where we're going to leave it on the show. But Isaac, before we go, predict your scoreline. Super Falcons against Banyana Banyana of South Africa. What's your scoreline? Quickly.
Super Falcons 3, Banyana Banyana 0.
Okay, Super Falcons 3, and also want to stand with that prediction. That is it on the program. Isaac, thanks for joining me on the show. It was a wonderful one having you around. That is much you can take on the program. 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. Say thanks for watching.